It's a beautiful, well, it's a day in the neighborhood. Not really feeling like it's that beautiful today. And I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But it is a day in the neighborhood, looking for better days. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to the show. You're trying to get my, trying to get my bearings here. A lot going on today, a lot going on this week, a lot going on in our communities, a lot going on across the world. We'll be talking today about this 300 million that's coming into Buffalo, and talking about public hearing coming up for the Common Council, how people feel this should be spent. I think it's very important to hear from people because this is not the Common Council's money. This is your money. This is tax money. So I don't think that not that 9 council members, 1 mayor, 1 controller, anybody should simply spend this money in ways that they think is right, but the way that the people think is right. Keep saying we got to make sure you hear from the people. Some things that this money cannot be used for, but some things it can be used for. And so I want to be clear about that. But we got a kid, a baby, and in a few minutes. Let everybody know in a few minutes. I am possibly going to be talking to the baby's grandfather live here on the show. I think it's important to bring humanness to this because what happens oftentimes is you have murder after murder after murder, and there's no humanness. And big ups to those who are doing the prayer vigils. The prayer vigils, some might not think is important. I think it's very important because it brings a human element to this. It brings that this person who has now lost their life had a family, had people who cared for them. And I do a gaggle load of funerals here at the church. And so I feel the humanness, and it affects me in different ways than some may expect. This isn't we're not ambulance chasers. I don't chase anybody to do a funeral. They feel comfortable here. We have the staff here, and it's a part of our calling to do that. And it's more about those who are still alive and getting them into the headspace. So if people say, well, where are they at on this? Well, I'm like in the thick of it almost every week, at least every month, because ministering to people who are hurt and trying to bring calm to those who I know are sitting in front of me and want to, go out and eye for an eye, shoot somebody because somebody shot their man or their girl. At the end of the day, I know my lane. It's really crazy because Tim Newkirk called me yesterday, and he's like, let me update you on what I'm doing. And I know I talk about Tim on this show a lot, but I'll just say this, Tim always keeps me connected, and what he said to me was, I know you in your lane, and you let me be in my lane, and it was just this. When I deal with him, it's non-confusion. It is just he knew. I haven't responded to any of the news media that is asking me to respond because I'm in the middle of doing the work. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to utilize the loss of life as a platform to build on for me. There are those out there, Tim, Stop the Violence, that, Pastor Giles, others, Dwayne Ferguson, Kenny Simmons. I can go on. I'm scared I'm going to miss, Murray. I don't want to miss a name. They have their lane. And it ain't no sense me going out putting on a yellow shirt and trying to be in their lane because they can't come in here and put on a robe and minister to the families and take care of the families in the same way. So for me, you know, somebody said check the volume. Are we all right on volume?
We're good.
We adjusted it?
Yep.
So for me, I stay in my lane. There are times I have to switch lanes. But I know my calling. And so when it is homicide after homicide or shooting, and I was talking to Bishop Apostle Gelsey the other day, and he was like, you know, nobody's saying anything about those who are shot but don't die. Whether you agree or disagree with that, at the end of the day, I agree with him that it's not just those who die. You know, some people have been shot at one time, multiple times, and still made it. And so we got to acknowledge all of those who are dying and being shot on our street. Now, I don't know if the person, I know they have somebody in custody. The latest that was on the Buffalo News site, and I don't have facts, I'm only reading, was that they had someone of interest, person of interest, but no one had been charged yet. And so that was a few days ago, a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old, but no one had been charged. Now here's where it is kind of sad. You know, New Year's Eve, I keep saying that, July 4th, 4th of July, I didn't go to the stadium. I stayed at home. There were people, and I know there were a lot of complaints about the fireworks, but there were people in my neighborhood. I just stayed in the hood. It was so much going on. But we drove around like kind of late, 10 o'clock, just drove around the community. And when I went to bed, I was kind of happy because I didn't see violence. You know, I mean, I was in the hood. I saw a lot of parties. I saw a lot of people out, but I didn't see any violence. I didn't witness a fight. I didn't know about any shootings until the next morning. So then, you know, all of that kind of good. Our people can get together and you know, it doesn't have to be violent because we just randomly drove around the city. And of course, there were fireworks all over the place, and, you know, police can't control all of that. I mean, it was all over the place, everywhere, and almost every neighborhood we drove to.
And like you said, it was definitely all over the city because as I was coming back from the stadium, and I told you I was getting on the 190, and you could see it from the Cheektowaga border all the way through the east side, all the way back around to South Buffalo. So there was no controlling.
Yeah, there was none. And my biggest concern was just about safety. I wasn't freaking out about the fireworks. I was more concerned about something landing on somebody's house and starting a fire. But other than that, I just wasn't. I wasn't overly concerned about that. But then to wake up and to find out all these shootings, and then to hear about the 3-year-old, like, I think this whole community is kind of shook this whole community. And I think the reason so many people allegedly cooperated and tried to help find whomever caused the shooting is because it was a 3-year-old. And again, I tell you, I've never been like in the streets. So, but from what I'm told, street code is you don't babies and women. Well, we've already broken the woman role because in the last couple of years I've buried so many women who were killed at the hands of somebody else that it's just ridiculous. And I think with the baby, you know, and I don't know if this was a random shooting. I pray nobody's mind is that warped that they would target a 3-year-old. I'd highly pray and doubt that. But the fact that someone would shoot when there are children around, you know, when it comes to gang violence, it's bad and it hurts people and it leaves children fatherless and yada, yada, yada. But if you out there and this is what you're doing, and this is your mode, this is what y'all doing, that's one thing. It is an entirely different thing when you have, and it's still bad. I don't want to pretend that gang violence is not bad, but the point is that the gang violence and random shooting in a neighborhood, two different things. Let me go to some of the comments. Carolyn Lane says, yes, it is, and beyond sadness. Faye Hemphill is saying, I was on the Skyway and it was beautiful. Actually made me happy to see because we didn't have professional fireworks. You know what, Faye? And I kind of felt like that, and I think that you can come on. I kind of felt that same way. Yeah. That's why I said I wasn't freaking out. I was only concerned about safety.
Absolutely.
And truth be told, we sat outside and watched some of the neighborhood stuff because I just wanted it to be safe.
Absolutely.
And if I'd have saw something unsafe, I want to have the type of relationship in my neighborhood that I can go and speak to people and say, hey, that you got to watch that, you know. Right. We witnessed fight going on down the street from our house a couple weeks ago. Girls in the middle of the street blocked the street. And Monique couldn't get down the street. I got dressed and went down, and I had. It's funny because as I got closer, I heard somebody say, "Oh shucks, here come the Rev," and I went down there, but I didn't go down there like a Karen. I went down there like a neighbor, and you know, calmed down the situation. Told everybody go in the house. I'm like, y'all don't go to jail tonight. Come on. And they listened. Now, whether they went back out and fought, I don't know. I didn't hear anything. But that, to me, is community. You got to be able to communicate with your neighbors. And so, yeah, did I have neighbors that they had the big stuff. I literally sat outside. We did. And I wanted them to know that I'm your neighbor. You know, I'm not the police on the street. I'm your neighbor, and long as they were safe, I mean, what you gonna do?
But I was gonna say, even going back to the fighting situation, I think the big difference, like you said, in that community, and right now we have communities where people are afraid to even go speak out or just say, hey, not my neighborhood, because they're afraid of, oh, my house will get shot up. Or, you know, we got constituents that call the office like, you know, this has to stop my neighborhood, but don't tell police that I'm the one.
And I understand that.
And so you have that fear that we're also combating as well to try to bring the community, the neighbors back into the community.
Absolutely. I understand it, huh?
And it's one thing when that's the rumor or that's what people say.
Right.
It's a whole nother trauma when you've seen the consequences.
Right.
And when you've been to the funerals of people who are supposed to testify.
Yeah.
At a very young age.
Yeah.
So when you've seen it, it's even more scary because you know that this isn't a rumor.
Absolutely. And now, I mean, with social media and all that, and people putting out your name and saying, you know, you a snitch and you all that. So that's why I do think, and when we get the calls to our office, we hand them confidentially. And so there is this delicate balance, man, when you talk about people. I think many people in their neighborhoods know things and want things to stop. And, you know, especially responsible parents. You got a little kid and now you're seeing a 3-year-old get shot. You if you're not concerned,
absolutely.
I mean, then you did. Janique Curry says, and we can read your comments on social media at Power to the People Show. Power to the People Show. I personally can't stand fireworks as I get older. I used to enjoy them, but my question is, who authorizes all the trucks sitting in mall and shopping center parking lots selling them? Well, there are certain fireworks in New York State that are legal. The big ones, they go over to Pennsylvania and get.
Absolutely.
The firecrackers, the sparklers, all that, those are legal. If somebody is sitting on a private lot that owner has allowed them to. Now, the legislation that I have been trying to put forward for the last few years is about the licensing of mobile vehicles, because we make food trucks get licensed, but I want to see those type of situations have to have a license, have to have a permit, so that we can ensure that they are not selling illegal products. It has been on the books for the law to be written. We are pushing it forward now, but we had obviously in this last year some other legislation that we were concentrating on. She sends her blessings to the family of baby Shaquille.
Yes.
Faye Hemphill, Janique Curry, certain fireworks are now legal. Yep, Faye answered that. Carolyn Lane, it's how you approach situation. Yeah, me living in the hood. I say it all the time. I'm a part of the hood, and I have to gain the respect of people.
Right.
You don't just come in the neighborhood and you're going, well, first of all, I'm not a pushy person anyway, so I'm not coming in doing all that rah-rah stuff. But I want them to know, like the fight down the street. I was like, I walked slowly. I didn't run down there. Y'all need to get out of that street. I mean, that's what inflames stuff. Right. But when you talk to people, but you have to talk to them not just when there's an incident. I ride down the street. I don't know if people waved at me or not. I just wave, because I can't just be looking from porch to porch. But if I see somebody, I just wave, whether they wave back or not. But I want that communication early, and that's how you build neighborhoods. So, yeah, we got that. The other thing is the feds have announced a task force for the escalating gun violence. And this is from Buffalo News, and because it cuts off on my computer, I really can't read the article very well. But U.S. Attorney James P. Kennedy on Thursday announced the creation of a new federal task force. So he says the effort initially slated to last 60 days will involve targeted enforcement, which police will focus on a small number of individuals. And I know there will be criticism about it. There's going to be criticism about everything. So, but I appreciate the approach of targeted and not widespread. I don't want to see every house getting raided, anybody who sniffs wrong in police custody. There are things police already know.
Absolutely.
There are wiretaps out there that's been on for years or months. And so if it is targeted, and it is for those who are breaking the law, because let's be honest, you got to deal with those who are breaking the law. But I do agree. Let me say what I agree with. And I agree. This is not political. I've been saying this as Darius Pridgen for years and doing it here at True Bethel. Mm-hmm. I do believe. But here's the question. I got a statement and I have a question. I do believe we need more mental health counselors available at scenes. However, the question is, will people utilize them? And this is why I've been to scenes. Not because anybody called me. I need everybody to know this. I learn about homicides like everybody else watching us right now. Am I right? I learn about it from the news. I don't get a call that says, Pridgen, this happened, and I don't get that call. So I want to be clear. So there are times I don't react because I can't. I don't know anything about it, right? Mm-hmm. But there have been times that I've been in my car. I remember shooting near Delavan where I've ride past. I see the tape. I see people outside. There have been times that I have been called to scenes. But I know how delicate the time is when somebody finds out about death. You can't just be going up to people and talking about I'm a mental health counselor either. It ain't gonna work.
They don't care.
They at that moment they don't care. And honestly, I don't think I would care either. Right? It's like my son is gone, my mother, whatever it is. I need time to grieve. And I just showed up at the hospital of a young man who passed, and my condolences. And this wasn't for a homicide. Go out to Otis Barker and the passing of his son, to his mom. But here's my point: there were people outside grieving hard. All I could do was stand still, and if one of them recognized me, they will reach out. But I'm not going up to somebody when they're grieving if I don't already have a relationship. Right. So the mental health counselors are important, but do you think that they will be utilized? Because even when we have them here, you might have one person who's grieving. Mental health counselor just kind of steps in real lightly, but very rare do they really want to have a conversation. So how do we get over that hurdle?
I think if the person looks like me, I'm more likely to talk. So that's where like the diamonds, like that. You know, if the person does not look like me in this situation, I'm not talking to you in that state. But I don't know if on the scene, if I put myself in that situation, if I were there when my brother got killed,
Right.
I would be falling apart. It
Right.
wouldn't be because I'm trying to process this maybe the next day or like before the funeral. But at that moment, I don't know what I'm feeling, so I really can't talk to you
Yeah.
because I don't know. You can't help me if I can't. I can't put my feelings into words.
And I think that's the question. How do we do that? Because I think about the Fair Grider situation, and again, I'm going to try to get his grandfather on the phone in just a few minutes. But I think about that situation and the chaotic scene that I've seen in videos, and how, because many people will just self-medicate.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get drunk, they're going to get high more than they are going to want to talk. And so somewhere here, and I think it definitely starts with the younger ones. And I definitely think, we got $300 million coming into this community, and a part of it can be used for violence prevention. I think that, and this is just me, but I'm going to listen to people in our public hearing coming up. We get the date for that public hearing.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday at
5:30.
5:30. And is it Zoom?
I do
We
not.
got to get. I'll get Rashid on the phone, but because I want to hear from people. But I think a portion needs to deal with our mental health, especially among children, and that might mean having to work with the schools, because I think a child is more likely to talk in a safe setting than they are, maybe just somebody on the street, because everybody on the street after a homicide is suspect. Even people who show up, because it's like, don't talk to them because they with this group. So it's difficult. Those of you who are out here for real, and you know it. Kamal says, I survived the shooting of a home. Over 30 high-powered rounds came through the house at 4 a.m., plus more than 10 9mm rounds. Police took more than an hour to come. They collected shell casings, made sure no one was hurt. Then they left. When I picked up the report, they listed it as a criminal mischief. Yeah, it's got to be taken more seriously. Faye Hemphill on Facebook says, this is why social emotional learning's great in elementary school. Yeah, I think, I don't have the answers. I'm not going to pretend on this show. I reach out and listen to people who this is what they do for a living, or they have the expertise to be able to help us to get through it. But I do believe that you have to have more than just a police presence. Yeah. And there are, and I'm going to say this, and I know we're in a season when some people don't want to hear anything good about police. Well, I mean, the community policing is so important. We have seen the present commissioner do more of it on blocks, talk. And you might not think it's important, but it is to have a conversation. But the officers who are there have to also be the officers who patrol that area, so that there's relationship.
And that's what I was going to say. I think we've been blessed, I think, in B district and C district with two amazing community police officers. But I do think, because I know they did this, we want all of our officers to be community police officers. But then when something goes down, it's called the two that are in each district. Yeah. And I think it should be, maybe that's how some of that reallocation, getting more actual community police officers, those who are in the neighborhoods on a daily basis, and not, just every officer is.
Right.
And it should be a mindset, but then don't tell me to just call the two when something goes down. Yeah,
it's tough. I think that, I was talking to a high-level official this week, not a police officer, who said that, police are kind of giving up on doing their job because of last summer and all of the action, and they're just trying to do their 20 and get out. And my opinion is there's a shift. And if there was not a problem, we wouldn't have had last year. Let's be honest.
If we have people wanting to give up on life,
Right,
and wanting
exactly.
to give up on opportunities to self-medicate,
Right.
because of the trauma that they went through. So I'm sorry, but kind of cry me.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there needed to be a shift in policing, and you can't just say because of Floyd. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of Floyds. Not let's say hundreds of thousands who
yes.
didn't die, but who that there was a culture that we can do whatever we want, and you better listen, and you better do, and we don't have any consequences. I disagree with that official, because at the end of the day, if you just want to do 20 and get out, good. Do your 20 and get out, or do your damn job. Honestly, do your job then, and do it with respect for the people who are paying you. That's all that was being said. Respect the people who are paying you. And then all that was being said was, let's make it, and this is not a negative to police, where police don't have to be social workers.
Right.
Come on.
And then I think the other thing is, then you have some officers that are public, like they want to police the community but don't want to live in it because it's unsafe. And I think that sets a bad tone in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
I'll
your
come.
kids get
Yeah,
to-
I'll
yeah.
come. I'll come. Try to.
No, I'll come and control you.
But
Yes.
I'm gonna go live out in Orchard Park in my 5-bedroom
I-
home.
absolutely.
With your tax money.
Yes.
Absolutely, and that is agitating. That it's like everybody else, your elected official has to live in the district where they're elected
Judges.
to right? Judges, everybody else. But you, elected official who cannot take away your freedom. But you who can take away my freedom and then go out to the suburbs or to the rural, you ain't got to worry about it. You don't have every law that I write. I've got to think about the people who I got to live with every day, right?
Every day.
If you get to get in your car and go outside of the city of Buffalo, and your job when you come in, you think is to control me and to control the people around me, there's a different type of attitude than if you
Yes.
got to lay your head down.
And they say those things.
Yeah.
They tell you how poor you are.
Yep.
I've been sworn at and called names and all of that, because they feel like, now I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do me, and then I'm gonna come back
Yes.
here. Like, if you want to do your 20 and get out, do it the right way.
Or get out
And then
beforehand.
get out.
Or
But don't-
find another 20 and done. That's all.
Yeah.
Find another 20
yeah,
and done. Like,
but you can't sit here.
India
anymore.
says what's happening in Jersey is interesting. No increase in shootings in the community or by the police.
what part of Jersey? I'm
She's,
interested to
she
know
says
that, so.
we have to look to places where there are best practice. Oh shucks, what did I do? Oh, I got
Best
it.
practices.
Go ahead.
More of the same is not working.
I agree. And Mark wants to know what part of Jersey. Radford says, Emmanuel Radford says, we have to work as a community to bridge the gap with our police officers. They need us and we need them. We have to stop this idea that police are not needed. Good police are an asset to the community.
Yep.
Nailed it. I agree with you. I agree with you. It is not about, at least I'm not one that says, get rid of all the police. We don't need the police. No. But police have to do the job of what police, I don't want to say law enforcement, what public safety is about.
Right.
And what community service is about. And we have the opportunity to change the face of that, because I got it. We got more crime in the city. I got it. Every city has more crime than their suburbs, mostly, in most instances. But at the end of the day, we can change the way we do policing to a way, because some of these police out here are stressed. They self-medicating too.
That's a fact.
Right? So they're stressed. They're going through. So everybody in the situation is stressed. Everybody. You know what? I think about, and we're going to try to get the grandfather on the phone in just a second. I think about how stressed even our young people are. There's like this heaviness in our communities. So you got young people stressed, you got older people stressed, you got police stressed. Like, that's affecting our health, not only mentally, but physically also. And it's just layer after layer after layer of problems. But again, now $300 million is not going to fix the problems, all the problems.
No.
Some of this money has to go to infrastructure. It's not all going to go to policing or law enforcement or public safety or any one thing. Crime prevention. Because I'm not going to throw out my wish list, but I'm just going to say this: the infrastructure in the fruit belt has to be addressed. These sinkholes, and we got to get up under it and fix it. Fix it, not patch it. We got to fix it, and some other things that I think are very important to our community. But okay, we ready? You got a number for him?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
One thing that Jaden's teacher did that I liked as far as school, she would ask, "Where are you today?"
Yeah.
And she would show pictures.
What do you mean? Where are you as far as
Emotionally. And that helped me, because now I ask my kids at least once a day, "Where are you today?" Or "How are you feeling emotionally today?" And I think that kids that have been through traumatic situations would be more likely to in school, because those kids were sharing and sometimes oversharing, but then they felt better. And then, I know you don't have all this time, but then she did like a little 4-minute meditation where they could just clear their mind after they've expressed what they felt. And then the class went, her class was the smoothest class he had, because they were just able to say what they needed to say, express that, have a little quiet time, and move on.
Yeah.
But kids are more open.
Yeah, I think they are. I think that, I don't like how I'm sitting bent all over. I think that, we're in a different age. They are much more open to express themselves. But my concern, I'm telling you, I think I said I'd probably keep talking about this on this show. If we don't address our mental health,
nothing can help.
You can have the best public safety force in the world. You can have everything, and at the end of the day, our mental health. And I'm not going to pretend that I know how to do it, but I do agree with the statement of let's look at some of the other models. Danetta says yes. Kamal says working together works. Ina Johnson says first they need to learn how to respect us as a people. I agree. Absolutely. Kamal says get rid of the bad actors, and I agree. And some of that has to be in changes in contracts to make sure. I mean, I don't think. And I was a cop. I was a cop in the Air Force, and we had a dirty cop. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to work with the dirty cop. I didn't want to work with the one who was giving information to people who were criminals. I didn't want to work with them. Yeah. But it took us as cops to make a decision to say to our boss, "There's a problem." And that guy ended up getting put out of he was in the Army. I was a part of a joint task force. He was in the Army. He ended up getting put out. And in the military, they don't play. Yeah. It ain't no contract. That contract is that contract you signed. But I remember them sitting this guy in the middle of the floor for an entire day as an example of a bad police officer.
Wow.
I remember this, and I don't know if they can still do it. This was in the 80s, but they sat him there for the entire day. So he was locked up. They brought him out of the cell, sat him. Now, the outside people couldn't see him, but we as police officers could see him. And he could not talk. They would not let him. They silenced him. And but everybody got the message, like, shoot, if you dibbling and dabbling a little bit, you better stop. Yeah. And I think that is the message that was sent out last summer, and the message that we cannot let, excuse for lack of a better term, die. We can't, because it's just too important. Kelly says, why not Foot Patrol? Do we have them on the line?
Yes.
Okay, why not Foot Patrol owners and house owners would get to know them and feel safe? That's that community policing part, Kelly, is getting the officers out of the cars. And that's so important. Okay, we got him mic'd up? He's live, or do I have to do anything?
No, you can just bring him in.
All right, who's?
Maurice Walker.
Maurice, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I want to first of all thank you very much for taking the time to be on the show. I know your family must be going through so much. I'll just tell you this. As my wife and I discussed this 2 nights ago, this is when the baby was still alive. She just busted out crying because of how hard this is. I want to give you the floor without coaxing you to say whatever you want to say, brother.
I mean, My son is distraught right now. He lost his son.
Yeah.
You know, we as older adults know how to deal with pain, but these younger ones don't know how. You know, he's frustrated right now.
So
he won't leave the hospital bed.
yeah,
You know, so
yeah. So tell me anything you want to humanize this about your grandchild first.
I mean, he's 3. He's about to be 4 next month. On the 25th, he's turning 4. I mean, he was a happy little baby. I always kept a smile. Any picture that you probably see of him, you see him smiling with his father. That's what he was always about. He was just, he was, anybody that know him will tell you he was super smart. He's beyond his time.
Tell me about, because you talk about his father, and so many children out here don't have an active father in their life. This baby had an active father in his life.
Man, yes, he did. I mean, well, you know, I had 2 kids by 2 different mothers, so I made it a pact that I wanted to make sure that my kids was always together, because I had 5 brothers and 2 sisters that I've never even been in the same house with.
Wow.
Of my father going to jail for 22 years, so that was something I was going to make sure that if he had kids, that it was going to be. So the bond between him and his son for them 3 years was unreal, and other people could tell you about that because they seen it. You know what I'm saying? He had him all the time. You know what I'm saying? If his mother had to work, he was the one keeping him. He was the one he was sleeping with. I barely got him because he had him so much. He didn't let nobody else get him. The accent, he didn't let nobody get him.
When you heard the news, where were you?
I was at the house at home, and I heard first that he got shot in the head. So I was just racing and running. And by the time I got closer to him, that's when I heard it was the baby.
What was your feelings at that moment?
I was pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
How can a baby get hit? I was mad. I was just asking 50 questions in 1 minute. But you know, until I found out what really happened, that they came in there looking for somebody else, thinking they was over there, and they were just shot up the park. And then one of them 4 people had nothing to do with nothing. They didn't have nothing to do with none of that. We didn't check all of that. We didn't basically found everything out that we can find out right now. Them poor people, them 3 other adults ain't have nothing to do with that. And one of the ones who got shot was my son's best friend. He the one who grabbed, I think, the baby and tried to save the baby.
So I've been involved in especially the last baby that was lost to gun violence. You know, I buried that baby from here. I believe I'm participating in your grandson's service next Saturday.
I hope you are.
So
I don't know yet because there's so many people coming at us trying to do help, and you know, this is not nothing that you can get ready for. So you know, we normally the ones we get ready for, somebody died, we had time, but you know, it's taking a toll on everybody. And then you know, right after the baby dying, you got to get ready for a funeral.
Right.
I mean, he had to sit there and make decisions to give out. I mean, how can I don't even know what to tell the man. He got to sit. He's sitting making a decision today to give the organs to save another life.
Wow.
Man, 25 years making adult decisions that, you know, like, come on. I mean, we got 2 other kids that we found out, 11 and 6-year-old, that's going to be able to use his organs. So he decided to donate the organs to help somebody else out.
Wow. That's a big decision, and a decision that many people will not make. But for him to make that decision for his son to donate organs is a big decision. And I applaud
him. My
him.
mother came to it last night when they basically told us that the baby wasn't here no more.
Yeah. Can you, and I know this might be personal and you might not want to share this, but how, like you said, you got to get ready now, not only to have the service, but to pay for the service. Is there a GoFundMe or anything that's authorized by the family?
We didn't set nothing up. You know, so we have, you know, my kid's mother and a couple of people, getting things together, but it's so much, it's overwhelming. Everybody coming at it. We don't really, no, we don't have nothing set up, tell you the truth, nothing.
Well, when you do, can you let us know? Because a lot of times people will put up a fake page or a page that is not authorized.
I would better off if you can do it, because at least we know it's real and people will follow you. You know what I'm saying? If one of us come up and they think that, you know what I'm saying? So if it is going to be a GoFundMe thing, I would like for somebody with your reputation to handle it, or, you know what I'm saying? Because people believe in you, and right now, you know, some people will try to just, make a buck off anybody.
So this is what I'll do, and you just sent chills down me, and I brother, I appreciate you trusting us. When I get off when we get off the phone and when I get off the show, I'll call you. You can connect me with his dad and mom. If they want us to do that, I'm going to do that because nobody is prepared to bury a 3-year-old financially. Nobody. And I want to be there in any way that I can to support to support your family because basically it's my family because we all in this together. And so I'll call you afterward. Anything else you want to say to our community about your feelings right now about the gun violence?
I don't even know, man. I don't know what we coming to. It's a war zone out here.
Yeah.
I mean, people ain't having the opportunities that other people have. It's staring in their face right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, it took a baby, you know what I'm saying, for everybody to get this jump started. I mean, come on, man. Lives is losing. I mean, we losing lives every day. It don't have to be a baby. I mean, we losing lives. We losing generations out here. He was a whole generation just taken away. We don't know what this man could have became. Could have been looking at the next president.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But at this time, you know, so I'm just trying to stay around my son because, you know, I don't want to lose this dude because he's a great father. Never been in no trouble. Never nothing. You know what I'm saying? This man been a good father, and anybody know him. No, I'm not bragging about him. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Man was always with his son. Now he even lost his best friend. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need to focus in after this funeral is some of these young men getting these men in the right position so they don't got to look backwards. They can help their families out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's all some of these men is out here doing is drugging and really trying to help a family out. But they just going about it the wrong way. And now if you don't have a father to teach you, you become that father figure. You think you know everything. You 18 out here doing man stuff. You really don't know what you're doing, but you out here doing.
Bruh, you said a word.
I don't know right now. I don't know.
No, yes, you do. And what you just said, and this is recorded, it's played over and over. What you just said needs to be said by so many more men in our community, and not taking anything away from the women, because they have a very important role. But the voice of men has at times been so quiet, and for you to say it, and to say it, like you said, some of them trying to feed their family, just going about it the wrong way. And so, go ahead.
I was there, so I know. But
Yeah.
I never thought about killing nobody. Where we come from, I come from this area. When I had a problem, we fought. I got my boys, you got your boys, we fought. We went home. Next day, we probably was hooping at the basketball court. And half of these boys out here killing each other played on football teams together.
Yeah.
I know half of these kids going to jail.
Yeah.
They was friends at one time. It's just they choosing a street that's gonna be here when they leave.
Yeah.
This street don't know them. You just living on this street. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what they gotta understand is the woman is married to the man. The woman carries the man's last name. When that man dies, that last name dies. The whole generation is cut out when that man is cut. So we're losing generations right now. That's what we're losing out here. We're losing generations. That's what people need to know. We're losing generations.
Brother, thank you so much. I'll call you after I'm off the show, and
Yes,
I'll do whatever your family needs for me to do.
I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Man, that sent chills.
Wow.
I mean, number one, like, I am so humbled. You know, being a public figure sucks sometimes. But the reason I keep going is because stuff like that, and we talk about this all the time, is when somebody feels that whatever position you have or wherever your heart is, because I don't think that was about being the pastor. That wasn't about being the council president. That was just, I really heard in his heart a trust for my heart. And to me, that's why I'm here. Y'all can have all the other stuff. You can have all the pomp and circumstance. You can have all of the positions. Let me have the opportunity to help people in some of their hardest times in their life, and my life is fulfilled. Let me read some of the comments, because this is probably another one of the toughest shows because, Grape Street still is with me.
Yeah.
That Grape Street shooting is still with me to this moment. And burying that baby, and now potentially burying this baby, those type of things don't just go away from you when it's done, and definitely not with the family. Tashelle Jameson says, powerful words that are being spoken. Faye Hemphill, my God, Kamal testify. Crystal Holmes, powerful words. Faye, so much love going out right now on social media for this man. Preach, Reese, from Faye Hemphill, chills down my spine also. That's what did. Wow, God show out, Shuki. Kamal asked, help them set it up. We're going to do it for them. If that's what the parents want, I'm going to do it, and we're going to do it. And I just say, again, nobody prepares to bury a 3-year-old or a 12-year-old, or, for that matter, you just don't prepare. I get after people who are, 40, 50 years old and you don't have any life insurance. Come on. But when it's a baby, ain't nobody go out and expect that baby to be there. And people were commenting on Facebook about his dad, about his parents, and I'm like in positive ways, and that's not something you get every day, So I know you left out. I know you couldn't take it, so she was off camera for a minute. But I don't know. I'm a little lost. I don't know what else to say. But thank you to who hooked up that interview? Renato, thank you, another hard worker in our community, for setting that interview up. Already, scam likely. So we're gonna do the best we can if that is the desire of the family, and we'll have that up by the late afternoon at the latest if that is the desire of the family. We ain't no ambulance chasers, so I ain't trying to get involved with something. Like I said, you haven't seen my face on the news. You ain't see me run again. You didn't see me run to anything. That man asked me to do it, so if I do it, it's going to be because they need it. They need it. Funerals are not inexpensive, even for a baby. But for his dad and mom to be making a decision right now to give his organs, that's a hard thing. Do you think you'd be able to do that? Yeah, it would be tough. So I commend them, and that they're giving life to another child, and so that 2 other children are going to be able to live. Really talks about the character of the parents when 2 other children are going to be able to live because of him. The internet is lit up. Let me get some of these comments. Their relationship was excellent. Lakeisha, I think praying for all families, praying for the entire family is so helpful when you have a support system. Amen. I agree. I said that about the Grape. Carolyn Lane says, I said that about the Grape Street the other day. Sad. Yeah. Shuki says overwhelmed. Thank you. So what do we do? If we have some money out here, what is your suggestions? This is really important. Next Thursday, for you to, let me see if I can get Rashid on the phone. For you to, if I swipe up, is my feed still going to be there? Yeah. All right. For you to participate in, and I can listen right now because I think, what is it that you think should occur? I'm going to look into what India is talking about New Jersey. She says, I think it's important to get mental health professionals into the Donovan Drive and knock on the doors. Do you think people would answer, though?
I think today, or like now, and before the funeral, that would be important, just to have that and give them the option. Even if they don't, just saying that, even if you don't, I took time out of my day because I cared and I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think some people will. Some people just are not that type of person. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. But giving them the opportunity.
Yeah.
She says we all need it, but especially over there after what they experienced. Yeah, and I agree. I wish I could take but everybody can't be on the bus. I was going to say take it, just house them, but you need privacy to kind of, so those of you social workers out there, maybe there's a project we can work together and figure this out. Kimberly says, my concern is why the police is never around in the area when the shooting takes place, but that's so many at the scene. You know, Kim, it's tough because I'll just say this. If you look at what many in the community asked for, they said they don't want heavy-handed police presence in communities like that. So, and then if the police are not there, then it's why aren't they there? It's a tough job to be everywhere. And I'll tell you, on the 4th of July, we did see a lot of police, and more police were put out on the street. But I think that they were cautious too, not to, be running up on people for fireworks, and then there's police contact. And so it's a tough job. I'm not gonna lie. It's a tough balance right now to do. Why don't family doctors give the vaccine? It may increase the rate of doctors they trust offer the vaccine. Yeah, I'm not sure, Kamal, on that right now. I know some are because there was doctors in the fruit belt that were giving it.
And my children's pediatrician asked.
Oh, so so they had some of the vaccine?
Well, they asked first, and I'm sure they probably did with all of the parents before it was for 12 and
Yeah.
to see to probably to gauge how much to get or how much that they did offer it.
Rashid? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, you're live on the air. I'm sorry, I did. Can you tell us how the meeting for Thursday that you'll be chairing about the $300 million in stimulus coming to the city? Is that going to be live on Zoom or Facebook?
It's going to be live on Zoom, and people, if they want to speak, can register, and they can go onto the Common Council's Facebook page to register. It's going to take place at 5:30 next Thursday.
Okay.
And we're looking for a robust conversation. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we really hope people will take the time to get on. And that's why one of the reasons why we placed the time in the evening, because most people are working. So we try to do what we can to really make it available to the community so they can weigh in on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I know I met yesterday with the administration, that I'm concerned about is people knowing what the money can be spent for, because it can't just be spent for everything. And so hopefully at the beginning of that meeting and even this week, there's an education process that occurs where people who want to know what it can be spent for are aware.
Well, one of the things that one of my colleagues said we're going to try to do is we can get a representative from Congressman Higgins' office, because they gave us a really thorough explanation of what it can be used for. It's not as wide open as we would have liked, but we just have to be creative. And I think that having the community involved can help us have that creativity. So many times we try to do it on our own, but there are residents out here that are kind of geniuses and have real ways of trying to get around things and really making this money work for us. But us trying to do it ourselves, I think we just hamper ourselves and maybe shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I would, if we could get some of that information out early before that meeting, I think it's important, even if it's just bullet lists of what it can and cannot be used for.
I was going to say, I think,
Yeah.
We definitely get that out.
I was going to say, I think flyers and graphics,
Yeah.
and even if when people register, they give an email that we can send them back, so
Yeah.
that way they can start mentally.
That way we're not on the call and people talking about things that we can't use this money for, but that we educate. So if we can help you in any way, let us know.
Okay, definitely.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. I called him and didn't even look down to see that he was on the line. And speaking of being on the line, I put up a video. I know everybody is not on Facebook, and I'm not. I just put up stuff, and then I get off of it. But can I beg of everybody to take me out of group chats? I know group chats also.
Oh.
There are group chats. So take me out. I don't want to be in them. If it's a holiday, either send me a Merry Christmas alone or don't. But don't put me in a group chat with 40 people that every time somebody comments, my phone is buzzing. And if I gave you my number, it's my personal number. Don't use it. I appreciate it. Let me say to everybody right now, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy 4th of July. When your birthday comes, happy birthday to you. Come on. What other holiday am I missing? Happy Kwanzaa, Thanksgiving, Easter, Passover. I said it. Now, don't please just agitate me. I'm just getting out all my frustration. You know, I know I'm mad about one other. I'm mad about the baby. I'm peed off.
Yeah.
I really, really am, and it made me more mad when I hear this granddad and I hear how good his dad was with him. But let me just say that. Stop group texting me and group chatting me. I don't want to chat with a group. If I want to chat with a group, we'll do it. But don't force me.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I just left a family group chat.
Did you?
I looked at my phone and I was waiting. Honestly, I was waiting on a reply from you.
Uh-huh.
And so every time I look down, I see the notification. So I'm like, oh, he responded. Nope.
No.
And the numbers just kept going up. 120, 250, 300. And I said, you know what? Leave this conversation.
Yes. Oh, so you just left. See, yeah. Okay. So I put up a post. It said, take me out the group chat. Take me out the group chat. Take me out the group chat or you will be blocked. Now, I got one person getting ready to get blocked. I'm telling you. Because they must ain't see it. So I just want to keep putting it out there. Just send me message. Send me.
So sweet.
Huh?
He's so kind.
What?
I don't wait.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I
just
don't-
blocked?
Yeah, like if it just keeps going and going and going, or then like now the same person creates another group, then I'll just block you.
But I can't get out of it if everybody doesn't have an iPhone.
Oh, I've blocked an entire chat, especially like if it was only one person that I knew, and then a bunch of numbers I didn't. I blocked the numbers I didn't.
See, I
and
gotta
left the
find out how to
person
do
I
that.
knew.
Leave the conversation isn't there if it's multiple platforms.
I don't know. So I got to find out because maybe I don't have to tell anybody anymore. I could just opt
Leave
out.
that conversation.
But
Yeah,
I'm
tell
getting
the
group
whole
chats
group you
at
left.
7 a.m. It will?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep, and then you can. So sometimes I'll throw up the peace finger on them and then just.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do
Gotta
that.
be petty.
I'm going to do
Of
that.
course, I'm petty. I work for petty.
Well,
Janetta says, everybody's commenting. I'm getting more comments on that. Iris says, I hate group chat and group text. Janetta says, absolutely. 2 times, you're blocked.
not even 3 strikes.
Not group texting. Please, Danetta, please no group chat. So I had to put that out there. Anyway, family, look out. I'll put it on social media if the family desires, or if they desire for somebody else to do it. I don't have to do it. I'm going to participate in it because 3-year-old, nobody planned for it. There's going to be expenses. Family is right now planning for a next Saturday funeral. I don't want them to have to put that off because they cannot afford to bury this baby. Right. This is a community effort, and $5, $10 will help, $1,000 will help in order to move forward. And I promise you that True Bethel will in some way participate because that's just the kind of church they are. That's the kind of church that the Lord has allowed me to pastor.
It's on the.
It's on here already? Did I cover it up? Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. In your hour of need, 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, 1275 Sycamore Street. In your hour of need. Did you know some people didn't? I think, I ain't going to say who. Somebody didn't know that you can call 411 and get a number. Like, you didn't know that?
When you do it, it still blows my mind.
When I call 411?
Yes.
You call 411. In your hour of need, call the operator or Google it. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. They're here to serve you. Hobson's the doctor of dry cleaning. Matter of fact, I pray you go get my gaggle of clothes that are over there because I have no more white shirts that are not cutting off my circulation when I button them and I breathe. Yes, because all my shirts are at Hobson's, the
gotta
doctor
go
of dry cleaning. 870. All my shirts I can fit. 874 East Delavan. And speaking of clothes that I can fit, I am no longer almost 200 pounds. I am no longer almost 200 pounds. As a matter of fact, yep. See, he doesn't
Driving to
believe
go.
it, huh?
It's 1.
No, it is 1 o'clock. Until next week, power to the people.